Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon, and where to get Watch Barbara Knit merchandise. Today we have a pattern tour for my brand new pattern that just came out. She's kind of on a lean, I think. I don't know. My silent partner is maybe had a little bit too much to drink, but you can still see the shawl. This is my brand new piece. And what a pattern tour is it's something I like to do because I can talk to you about a lot of what came, like the thought process behind the pattern. I can tell you details, and most especially, you can actually physically see it in motion. I do my very best to take photographs that communicate to the knitter the kind of questions they might have, the answers of size, shape, drape, and those kind of things. But seeing it physically moved around actually gives you a lot of additional information that static photos cannot. So you definitely want to check in the description notes, because that is where you will find a link to both my Ravelry shop and my personal website, my business website shop, should you want to get this pattern to knit up for yourself. And towards the end of the video, we will also be talking about the yarn, because this pattern was done in collaboration with one of my favorite yarn dyers, Miss Babs, who is in Eastern Tennessee and dyes absolutely gorgeous yarn. And her name also happens to be Barbara, so that's fantastic. So here is the shawl. This shawl is called Cabbages and Kings. I will put a link in the description notes to the beginning of the month live, where we had a fairly extensive discussion about the name of the piece. It is part of my Alice in Wonderland series. I have quite a few patterns that I've chosen to use Alice in Wonderland themed names. It may or may not necessarily relate to the pattern, but figuring out names can be super challenging. So, Cabbages and Kings. It is from the poem The Walrus and the Carpenter in Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, it is a rectangular stole that is worked on the bias. And what that means is, instead of it being a rectangle, it's a parallelogram. It's long and it's at an angle. Now, a lot of times rectangular stoles worked on the bias, what they do is they start at like a point and work a triangle until you have the width, and then you kind of change and you work straight, and then you have to do a decrease to finish off to make it a true rectangle. Frankly, I find that fiddly. And I don't feel like that time and effort actually pays off. And I actually like the fact that the cast on and bind off edges are at this angle. So I think it gives a more interesting, and that's why I also do the bias. Fabrics that are worked on a bias have a different drape than fabrics that are worked straight. So those are both things that are in this shape, but in general, it's a very simple shape. And it is knit in DK weight yarn, and it was specifically designed to use 6 Miss Babs Yowza minis. And I probably should have, yeah. So here is one I've got back here. This is a Yowza mini. It is a DK weight yarn. It is an 80-gram skein, which in the grand scheme of things does not seem particularly mini, because a standard DK weight skein is going to be 100 grams, but a standard Yowza skein is like 560 yards, whereas this is 200 yards. So it is mini for Yowza. So you need 6 of these mini skeins in 6 different colors, which is going to be a grand total of 1,200 yards, which is why this puppy is so gigantic. It is a very, very large shawl. I honestly think it's the biggest shawl I have ever knit or designed. Let me put her back. It is 100% superwash merino. It comes in a huge huge range of colors. And the way this pattern is designed, all of the colors do not have to have high contrast with all of the other colors. The way that the pattern works and the way that the colors occur in the pattern, each color only really needs to have good contrast with two other colors, because it's those two colors that frame it. So if you look here, come here, young lady. So if you look here, let's look at this. This is the darkest pink color that I used. And if you see, when I bring in the dark pink color, it's being worked in color work with this dark teal. So it has to contrast sufficiently with the dark teal. And then you have a patch that it's just that color work solid, and then it's worked with the next color, which here is the darkest of the colors. So this color, this band, only has to have contrast with the color that comes before it and the color that comes after it. So it's going to make it a little bit easier to pick out colors, but it also makes it so, like, if you have a full gradient, it's not necessarily going to work particularly well, because the way they like alternate in, I don't know, it could. So let's keep on stripping so you can see. So as you can see, it keeps on going. Here's the beginning, and then this is how big she is. She is approximately 113 inches long, which is almost 9.5 feet. So it is really big. This dimension is approximately 16 inches, which is deep enough to be worn, you know, when it's over your shoulders. It's going to come down. It's going to come down, not quite to the waist, but like to wrap, like a traditional wrap. It's not going to come down too far. But what the idea behind this is super big, which means you can wrap the cowl, right? Okay, so here it is. I just threw it on here, right? So this is like, see this leg, if you will, is all. It's still got all this beautiful fabric, floopy, dangly part, and we still have all of this, which can be draped into like a really, almost like a cape, and a really good size cowl, and you still have enough to pull around, and it's still got this dangly part. So it's like a cowl and a scarf at the same time. That's how long it is, but it's wide enough that it's also, it's shawl width. And if you wanted to, if it fits your style, let me pull her this way, you could drape it, some of my hair, you could drape it like this and do the thing where you crisscross it, right? And there's still enough room here in the back where if you wanted to, you could, tie it in a knot, or tie it in a knot on the side if that's more aesthetically pleasing to you. But you can see, you can have this cape effect and still have all this extra, or you can just wrap it both around, start in the back, bring it up, and look how much you still have. So I really like these big, generous, let me get this, there we go, these big, generous size shawls, because they're great for styling, and also they're really good for plus-sized people. Obviously, it's good for all sizes of people. I've found that a lot of plus-size people feel like, and I am in this category that when I first started making shawls, I was like, oh, I need to make a little shawl because otherwise it's going to just make me look bigger. But a bigger shawl is more proportional to your body. So that is definitely something that it took me a while to figure out, and now I really favor these larger shawls. Now, I like little shawls too. I wear them like as kerchiefs and things like that, but I really like these big old shawls. Now, more on the pattern. So we have the stitches that are used in this are central double decrease, knit front back, purl, slip slip knit, slip with yarn in front, slip with yarn in back, and yarn over, and then right twist and left twist. And that's really it. I like to design things that look like they're super, super complicated and it was really hard to knit, but in reality, it wasn't difficult to knit at all. And this one definitely fits into that category between the way that the colors work and the stitches that I used. So what we have is, this is, let me show you, the lace pattern, right? And then this is, oh, I'm just going to take the whole thing down. Oh, shit, it'll go me naked. The texture twist pattern. So this is sort of my almost garter. This is the rest portion of the program. And you can see it's got this really interesting texture. It's knits and purls, left twist, right twist. I did make a video for left twist and right twist. You might recognize the colors. So that link is included in the PDF, but also I'm going to link it below here. I'm going to show you it in the light color so you can really see it. You can see this texture twist. It's just knits and purls and then left twist, right twist, which is really easy to execute. And then you have the lace pattern, which is right here. Now, if you look carefully, right, this stitch and this stitch are the exact same stitch. So realistically, this pattern is made up of two stitches. We've got this texture twist pattern and then this mosaic lace pattern. The only difference between this stitch, this panel, and the panel above it is that in one panel, right, it's only a 4-row pattern, 4-row repeat. So rows 1 and 2 are the pink color and rows 3 and 4 are the blue color. And then you knit this little stripe of stockinette. And then in this panel, rows 1 and 2 are the blue color, and row 3 and 4 are the pink color. And it is a matter of color dominance. Which color is more visible based on this stitch pattern? Because this, see how the blue makes kind of a little triangle? Well, that little triangle is the central double decrease. And so it takes those three stitches and it squinches them together and it makes the blue have less presence in the fabric. And up here you can see the little pink triangles, and those little pink triangles they're scooched in, and so they have less presence. So in this panel, the blue is dominant, and in this panel, the pink is dominant. So the way the pattern works is, so this is the beginning, and this was what took me so much math. And I'm not going to try to explain it, but it just starts with half. See, each color combo has two, like this panel and this panel. Well, this is a color combo, but this is half of it because the other half's on the other end. So, and then we've got the solid. So if we look here, if we think of the light blue color, we have light blue with light pink, light blue with light pink, but blue dominant, solid blue, blue with the medium pink, blue with the medium pink, but the pink is dominant. Okay, so we've got 5 panels here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 panels per color. But you're only doing 2 stitches. You've got the lace stitch, and then the lace stitch with the color reversed, then the texture stitch, then that same lace stitch but with different colors, and then those different colors reversed. So you're not having to learn anything new. The other thing I really tried to do is make sure they were the reason why they repeat the way they do is about the time I started getting bored with one color combo, I switched to the next one. And about the time I started getting bored with that, it's time for texture. And about the time I start getting bored with that, it's time for another color combo. So it's to keep it, because it's a very long piece. So it's to keep it interesting and to keep me from getting bored. So it starts with A and B. We have B, B and C, B and C, C, C and D, C and D, D, D and E, D and E, just E, E and F, E and F, just F, F and B, F and B, just B, and then at the other end, B and A. So that's the way this is what took the most math, is to get these ends to work the way they did. Because I could have just done A and B and then A and B and then B and C and D, and it would have ended like here. But I wanted it to seem finished. And it essentially, as I said, it's got 2 panels per color combo. It essentially the pattern wraps around. So here, see, so you've got A and B, but A and B occurs on the opposite ends. Both panels are there. They're just, because it wasn't symmetrical, because it would have been this and this and then this, and it just wouldn't, I don't know. I am very controlling of how designs work. So, just for anyone who wants to know, I'm going to act like I did that on purpose. This is what the back looks like. One of the great things of this style of slip stitch color work is there are no floats. You are only working with one strand of yarn at a time, and you are knitting stripes. So the back, as you can see, doesn't have any floats, and it looks just fine. The back of the texture just sort of looks like a knit purl, because the twist does not come through on the reverse. So even if the edge flips off, not that way. Even if the edge like flips, like if it turns, it doesn't look bad. It's not reversible, but it doesn't look bad on the wrong side. But the right side definitely looks better, because that's where you get the really pretty color. Oh gosh, look at that color. I love this. I love these colors. But look, I really like, it's almost like, because honestly, it's pretty much like 2 rows of knit, 2 rows of purl visible, right? But with that little twist, it just gives it that little bump that catches the light. And I just really like, and it's not that much more challenging to work than garter. So that is the color, and the way the color, I wish I had longer arms. We'll pop that up there. The colors, by the way, are Muslin, Eternity, Monsoon, Abiquiu. I don't know how to pronounce it. Suspense, and Slot Canyon. Those are the 6 that we selected together with Miss Babs to get the colors for fun. Now, let me see what else you need to know. It is a US size 8, 5 millimeter needle. The final size is around 16 inches by 113 inches, which is 4.5 by 287 centimeters. The gauge is given over the texture twist pattern, because that's going to be the easiest thing for you to measure. And I have provided, because it's worked on the bias, it would be a little difficult to figure out that gauge. So in one of the side panels, it does say this is the texture twist pattern for gauge, cast on in increments of 4. So you're going to cast on in increments of 4 and work the twist pattern to get your gauge, and that'll give you the opportunity to practice the twist stitch, because really it's not hard at all. It's worked on the needle. It is not really something that has to use a cable, but because it's worked on the needle. And again, there's a video for that. What else? So and again, it's just a whole lot of repeating the same stitch over and over again. Now the pattern is longer than it really, I mean, technically I could have boiled the pattern down tighter. I could have just said, here's the lace stitch, here is the texture stitch, work it in this color, work it in this color, work it in this color, and only written them once. Now, the texture twist pattern is only written once because it's always worked in a solid color. But because the color changes and how the color changes work, I've actually written out step by step the lace patterns so that it's not just because you say using color A, I mean, it can get confusing because it switches from like A, B is like, I could have said the first color and the second color or something like that, but it's not standard. So I definitely just wrote it out. Those of you who are much more experienced knitters might find that you're only glancing at the instructions to double check things, because again, the stitches are only 4 stitches wide. It's repeated 4 stitches across, and they're only 4 rows tall. So it's a very small unit that just gets repeated, and I tried to put it together in a fun puzzle to make it look like you're doing something substantially more complicated than you actually are. Okay. And so if you've never seen one of my patterns, I do have a sidebar on my pattern, and like, here's a note. If you are the sort of knitter who pays close attention to the numbers, the reps of the texture twist pattern might throw you off a bit while you work this at the beginning in color A and in the end at color B. So I'm talking about these 2 panels, this one and this one, right? There are 7 repeats of the texture twist pattern in those 2 panels, but in all of the other panels there are 8 repeats. And the reason why that is because I did all the math and was constantly weighing the yarn to make sure that I was controlling the yarn usage so people wouldn't run out of colors. And I took that final repeat, that 8th repeat, and allocated that yarn to the cast on and the bind off. If you have plenty of yarn, and here's what I said. I worked the math out and borrowed 1 repeat of the twist pattern to compensate for the beginning/end, including cast on and bind off. If you have plenty of yardage, you can add the 8th rep back in should you desire. You can always make the first, if you have the extra yarn, go for it. I wanted to be very cautious, very much because you hit this and then you cut that color and save that color for the end. And then when you finish A, you cut it and save it for the end. And the last thing we want to do is be at the end and run out of this color. That would be very, very, very bad. So there is that. And I will show you. So here we go. These are my leftovers. Oop. Now, this might seem like a lot of leftovers, but I am very aware that people don't do gauge swatches for shawls. So I always build in some wiggle room. I did not build in as much wiggle room as I normally do because they're smaller skeins, but I did plan on that. But also I had to compensate for, I weigh the skeins before I get started because they're supposed to be 80 grams. But like, for example, this one, there are 12 grams in this that were above and beyond. When I first weighed this, it was actually 92 grams. So I had to like subtract 12 grams to get down to 80. And then I left about 10% of wiggle room for y'all. So that's 8 grams. So 12 plus 8. So yes, there are about 20 grams here, but like 12 of them are, if you had an exact weight skein, it's not anything you would have to play with. So I don't want you to run out of yarn. As I said, it is roughly 200 yards. It is 80 grams of DK weight yarn. I do want to show you. Let's go to this window. Here we go. This is Miss Bab's website, and I want to make this now. Look how gorgeous that is. Actually, I think I used this color combination in the Peephole stole. She's got so many amazing things. I want to show you that if you go here to yarn sets, right? So it's this second thing, and you go down here, you can find Yowza mini skein, mini set of 6. Okay, so here is Yowza mini set of 6 200 yard arranged to create a lovely color. And she actually, looky here, this is Cabbages and Kings. So these are the precise colors that I used in my my project. And you can see from left to right are muslin, eternity, monsoon. This is the word that I was trying to tell you about that I cannot pronounce, ébécule, suspense, and slot canyon. I love all of these, but the suspense and slot canyon together, I think look amazing. But also, suspense and suspense, which is this one, and slot canyon, and then slot canyon and eternity. I love it. I love playing with color. But this slot canyon color with the dark, and then with the teal, I just love it. Every color I was doing, I was like, I love these colors together. Now let's look at the other sets of 6 that she has. So something like this ice cavern, where it's a gradient, you'd have to be careful. I think you'd be okay because you have 3 light and 3 dark. So I think you would probably be okay with that. You just have to play with them to figure out how to put them together. Something like this would work great, the Cinque Terre. The flamingos, I'm not sure that you're going to have enough contrast or be able to make this subtle of a gradient work, because you do need contrast. So these ones that are the really subtle gradients, I don't know that I would recommend them, but something like this one, the arboreal, amazing. These ones that are multicolored, this one is gorgeous, super bloom. Oh, look at that. So that is Cascara, Rainforest, By the Sea, Sweet Pea, Princess Party, and Whit Sunday. I just, gorgeous. This one could be really cool. This one definitely could be really cool, because it's got those neutral tones. I am looking at my other, you guys, that's why I'm not making eye contact. So, like this one, that would be gorgeous. Or, you can always go to hand-dyed yarns, go to DK. How do I do this? Yowza Minis. There we go. I just wasn't reading. There we go. Yowza Minis. And you can just put together 6 that you want. And I wanted to show you this because she has a really cool feature on her website. And I'm just going to do it really quick here. Is this compare colors. Oh, I'm not going to log in. I can log in. So I added this pink, and let's say we like this color. And let's say, oh, there's so many gorgeous. Look at these. Look at this one. Let's say we like this color and this color. That was 4. Let's go here. I'm just picking out solids, and let's go here. Okay, so now I've picked 6 compare colors. Now I click on compare colors, and you can see Like if you're trying to build a 6 skein set, you can see the colors. And I can see right now that this gray boot scootin' is not going to particularly play well contrast wise. You can just decide, do I like these colors together? Oh, I don't know that this pink and this kind of purpley pink are going to play well together. You can look through. I love, for randomly clicking, this Dostoevsky and dark terrapin, this peach and dark green together. Absolutely delicious. So so that is a really cool feature. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take out the pink, and I'm going to take out this one, and I'm going to leave the green one. And I'm going to take out this pink one. And this is great. So let's say I want to add in an orange. So that narrows down, and I can pick, I think that what orange, and I'm trying to remember in my brain what I already have, what orange would go well with that green. Well, let's see if this does. And then we go back to here. Oh, I love it with that green. This one with the green, but I don't know that this one goes with it. Again, I could play with this absolutely all day, but I just wanted to show you how to find the yarn sets, which again, that's the Yowza mini skein, and they do have the Cabbage. She does have the Cabbage and King one, or to pick out the colors and how to use their color comparing device, which I think is really cool. So that is, I've been talking for a long time. This shawl I've been working on for a very long time. If you attend any of my lives, you've been hearing about it for who knows how long. It is a big rectangular stole worked on the bias with 6 colors of DK weight. You need approximately 80 grams of each color of DK. So if you don't want to try to figure that out, you've got the mini skeins from Miss Babs. If you have, like if you've bought a lot of Miss Babs and you have leftover Yowza, get yourself a scale and see if you have enough left over, because, you know, the Yowza skeins are really big. So I would love to see what colors you might knit this in. Please come over to the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, and like if you have questions about color, you can always ask questions there. You can ask questions in the comments below. I cannot wait to see all the different things that people do with this, and ones that are just exactly what I picked, because when you do what I picked, I'm just like, yay, I did it right. So if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.